Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. Megan Tull here with our first Passionista Nation expert interview series. So you guys are in for a treat. We have an amazing expert joining us today, my dear friend, Kim Carpenter, who is absolutely awesome and so talented and gifted at branding. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is branding secrets to be more visible and get known. So the reason behind putting together this Passionista Nation interview expert series or expert interview series is a lot of you have been asking for more training and help in different areas. So I decided to not only, provide value and content myself, but I'm so blessed to know so many amazing experts, and I wanted them to come on and share their expertise with you on the main areas that you seem to be struggling with. So I've been kind of taking a look at the requests, and I'm going to be choosing topics based on what you guys are asking for. So excited to have Kim here today. Let me tell you a little bit about Kim. First of all, she is a very dear friend, and she's always up to amazing things. I'm so proud of her, and just so privileged and honored to be her friend and cohort. We've done some cool things together as well. So Kim Carpenter is the founder of World Changing Women, where she helps women successfully grow businesses that make the world a better place. How awesome is that? Her career began in 1996 with leading accounts in New York City's top advertising and digital marketing agencies, where her client roster included, get this, you guys are going to be super impressed, United Nations, MasterCard, Blue Shield, Nike, Pepsi, and Office Max. Kim has mentored hundreds of entrepreneurial women in how to create and stand out with their marketing strategies so they can exponentially grow their reach, revenue, and impact. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Kim out so she can start sharing her expertise with us. So Kim, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Megan. It's so exciting. Hey, Passionistas. I'm so excited to be here and so honored to be the first guest in this series. I know, Megan, you're constantly creating amazing opportunities for your tribe, and I'm honored to be a part of this tribe, and so excited to come and talk today about branding, which is often this kind of mysterious thing that many solopreneurs and startup entrepreneurs don't really understand. So I'd love to demystify that for everybody a little bit today.
Yeah, thank you. So excited. All right, so we're going to dive into some questions here. So, yeah, and then if you want to add anything extra in there, if you're in.
Can you see the chat in the Facebook Live? Because I don't have that open. I was just wondering.
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to record this, but if you guys have any questions, please add them to the chat as we're talking. And I promise I will go in and answer any questions after this Facebook Live, because I really, really want you to have standout marketing and branding. And so, yeah, just go ahead and type your chat, and also type in there, go ahead and type like where you're from and what kind of business you have, so that we can start to get oriented around that.
Excellent. Awesome. All right. So the first question is, what is the difference between marketing and branding? I know a lot of people struggle with that. Like, okay, what really is a brand? Don't I already have a brand because I'm marketing? And so if you can clarify that for the folks in the group today, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think branding is one of those really overlooked things. And first of all, I mean, for small businesses. And first of all, I want to say it's not your logo. Like, your logo, if you have one as part of a brand, you don't even need to have a logo at all to have a brand. If you have a business, you have a brand, and the history of this, if you think about brands, right? Like, I just was looking this up because I'm leading a branding workshop this coming weekend. And the history of branding actually comes from ancient Egypt, when they would brand their animals to make sure that they knew who owned what animals, because at that time animals would just wander all over the place, right? So that's it. And so what you want to think about with branding is you're branding yourself in the minds of consumers, right? It's like a branded, right? So if you think right now, how many brands do you know? I mean, Megan listed many of the brands that I've worked with. Pepsi, Nike, Toyota, right? Even the United Nations, right? And you probably have an image that comes to your mind immediately when you think of those things. Apple, right? The logo comes to your mind, but it's also not just the logo, it's the whole experience. And when you can look at what is the brand experience that you want to create for your potential customers and customers, you automatically take yourself out of the realm of just being another life coach, another executive coach, another consultant, another service provider, whatever it is that you do, right? You really need to find a way to make yourself and your brand show up as unique. If you have a personal brand, right? Like Megan, I think I do too, right? I have World Changing Women, but I also have Kim Carpenter Consulting.
Yeah, I have MeganTull.com.
Yeah, Megan Tull, right? So that's a personal brand, right? That's all about me. And so inside of that personal brand, I'm telling my personal stories and my life stories and all of this. But even inside of World Changing Women, what we've done is we've created a brand experience around that. We've created logos and taglines and imagery and a whole graphic language that we use, but also a way of being, a way of speaking to each other. You know, in Passionista Nation, that brand is infused with passion, with fun, with liveliness, right? You know the feeling that you have when you come into this group and you experience Megan and everything that she's created for you. So that whole experience, your why you're doing this, and the feeling that people get when they interact with your business in every single step, that's your brand. Now, your marketing is taking that brand platform and all the messages that you create. So your sales pages, your funnels, your freebie offers, right? Those things that are written, the specific launches that you're doing, that's your marketing. But if it's backed up by a solid brand that doesn't change, it's going to be so much more powerful than what I see often is just like throwing spaghetti at the wall where we're like, oh, now I have a group program. Well, I need to market that. I need to create marketing for that. And you're kind of starting from scratch every single time. And what I would love for you to, I'd love to see with everyone is that you're starting from a brand brief, which is, oh, this is my brand. This is who I am. You can even have an archetype around that, right? So the archetype for World Changing Women is the archetype of a captain. But it's the captain, like the captain of a ship, but the captain of a ship who empowers everyone else to step into leadership. Right? That's a really powerful captain. And I'm a total nerd. I'm a Trekkie, actually. And so I love like Captain Jean-Luc Picard. I don't know if there's any other Star Trek people in there. Post in the chat, let me know. But, you know, Jean-Luc Picard as the captain of the ship, right? He was powerful and strong, but not egotistical at all. He would empower all of his other crew members to really step up and make decisions, and he trusted them to take over. That's the kind of captain that World Changing Women is. We have this ship that we're all on, and everybody's being empowered to step into their leadership. So that's a little bit about the difference between marketing and your brand.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, so it's so important for you to know who you are and what you stand for, what your mission is, because you're a leader of your brand, right? And your brand is just a reflection of who you are. But I love that you said that like you're just the captain and you're there to empower everybody else. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us, right?
Right.
It's about who we're serving in our community. And we're just there to kind of be the fearless leader and be there to raise them up and support them and provide value, right?
That's right.
I love that. I love your take on branding. And everything you do is part of your brand. That's so awesome. So why is branding so important to being visible and getting known? I know a lot of people feel that they know the value they offer. They really believe in their products or services, but often they feel like they're the best kept secret. So
Yeah.
how is branding yourself effectively really going to get you known and make you visible online?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you guys a little tip that's an amazing resource, and I recommend all my clients read this and everyone in my community read it. And it's a book called Building a Story Brand. And of course, the author skips my mind right at this moment. I've been working on this book all week, but Building a Story Brand.
Okay.
So if you really want to get known, and one thing we say is create your own market, right? Like there's so many of us, I'm sure you have a lot of people in your community who are coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, trainers, teachers in some way, right?
Yep.
We have a service-based business. We're providing services, holistic services, whatever. There's how many 7 billion people on the planet? Like there's a whole lot of us. There's millions of other people probably doing the same thing with a similar training, right? And there's no one that's you. You're uniquely you. And even if you don't have a personal brand, if you've created something bigger, you could have a partnership with multiple coaches all working under one umbrella, right? There's a brand. But you really need to look at what does this brand stand for? And the biggest mistake so many people make is you say things that sound like everybody else. And you position yourself in a way that doesn't really look very unique. And you show up and you say, well, I'm a life coach, and so I just can help anybody, right? And so that's the thing is, it's nearly impossible unless you have millions and millions of dollars to compete in that way.
Yeah.
Okay, to differentiate yourself. So the best thing you can do, especially as you're starting out, and it's going to be hard, is to narrow and focus. To focus on one ideal client group, right? So are you a life coach that wants to serve moms who have children in elementary school, who live in certain types of areas, who have certain types of values, who have certain types of beliefs, probably that resonate with your own, right? And you're going to do this one thing with the life coaching for those people. That's the best thing that you can do. So your brand will help you create, and when I work with people, we create your brand archetype, your brand values. We create the core messaging for your brand, and we create these powerful brand stories using an archetypal framework. That's what the Story Brand book is going to teach you, is that there's archetypal stories. Unfortunately, the book's going to ruin every movie for you from now on, because you'll see every single movie you watch has this same story arc, which is a character has a problem, he goes on a journey, he meets a guide, the guide gives him some information, and he gets tested, and he or she, and then basically either there's success or failure at the end, right? And so when we use, this is just a human story. Joseph Campbell was one of the people that helped find this. Like there's one basic human story, the hero's journey, that is just throughout every culture, every human being on the planet resonates with this. So when you can use these types of stories in your branding and in your marketing messaging, you're going to hone in and resonate with that ideal client immediately. And so that is the key to really using branding to be more visible, because when you get specific on your message like that, it's like a dog whistle for your ideal clients. Only they can hear you. Now, other people are not going to resonate, right? Like I'm not a mom with kids in elementary school, and so I'm not going to resonate with your message, but that's a good thing. It's a really good thing, right?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think so many of us want to help everybody, and we often feel like we can. But you're absolutely right. I fell into that death trap years ago when, like, well, I can do this, I can do that. And I didn't want to limit myself. I was thinking the more versatile I was, the more clients I can have. But that is absolutely not true. It doesn't mean that you can't offer more services and help people in other ways. But when it comes to your marketing message, the more direct and precise, like you said, just really narrowing in on one particular type of person is key, because you're right. You have to have all of your messaging directed specifically to them, right?
Yeah. And I think people get scared. Sorry. I think people get scared if they focus too much, that they're going to be stuck in that forever. They're never going to be able to diversify or serve other groups. I'm telling you, that's not true. I've worked with, like Megan said, hundreds of entrepreneurs. It's just when you're getting started, until you get that traction, until you have so many clients wanting you that you have a waiting list. That's the point where you can go, okay, maybe I'm going to expand. Maybe I'm going to serve this group, and I'm going to hire these other people to run the business so I'm, have more time to do whatever. Yeah. Until you get to that point, until you've created that stability, it is a death trap. I mean, you use that phrase, but it's true. Yeah. It really is true. And it's a big blind spot for a lot of people.
And so we're talking about getting known. I think it's really important to zero in on one specific thing. Again, even though you are capable of offering many valuable things, but focusing on one thing that you feel most inspired about or most passionate about, that you want to be known for, then again, you're not going to be competing with everybody else out there that are business coaches, life coaches, whatever. Yeah, because you are really laser focused on one area, and then you'll be known for that. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I want to say one more thing about that too. I think that it's important for you to take a stand. I call it your brand stand. To really take a stand for something that's an opinion, that's a point of view about something. I think oftentimes people are nervous about, alienating anybody else, but it's actually a really good thing. There are some people that really embrace talking about politics, and that's a big part of their brand. I mean, I had that occur in my World Changing Women group. Someone, because it's like the group's World Changing Women. It means that we see things that we want to change, right? And so what I'm doing in there is creating a brand experience around kind of having edgy conversations about some things we're noticing aren't quite working in the world. Now, do politics often come into that, and people come and they talk about their political views? Yes. And for me, in my community, that's okay. And if somebody doesn't want to have conversations that feel a bit edgy about changing the world, then the World Changing Women group isn't the right place for them. And it's okay. There is another place for them. Sure. But because I've been brave and done that, I'm attracting way more people that are like, oh my gosh, finally a place where we're about doing and taking action and creating positive change and using our business for that. I'm attracting more of my ideal clients, and the other people are just naturally falling away. Not that they're kicked out or that I don't want them, because I love them, but it's just not resonating. And that's a really good thing.
I love that. So taking a stand, I think that's so important. It's all about having that strong why. Why are you doing what you're doing in the first place? And really emotionally getting connected to that. Because, I mean, being an entrepreneur is not easy. And if you are not emotionally connected to your mission, your brand, your passion, everything that you're striving for, then your chances are you are going to fail, because you're going to give up. So I love that, like having, being a stand for what you believe in, and not being afraid of repelling some people. I think, to be a little polarizing is okay. Again, you're going to not waste your time with the people who are really not into, your message, but the ones that connect with it and resonate with it will really be fully committed to whatever you have to offer. So I love that.
Yeah. And you just reminded me, you said something really brilliant, like it's about your why. And I think there might be some people here listening who aren't quite sure what their why is. So I just wanted to give 2 little questions for, if that's you, to get you started. The 2 questions I would ask yourself is, what lights you up and what breaks your heart? And to just allow yourself to do some journaling and writing around this. I know Megan helps people really tap into their why and, create a business around that. In my work, I look at that specifically in the brand context of like, how do you demonstrate and communicate to the world your uniqueness? So I actually take people through a 3-day process where we're diving deep into what is your why and what is very specially unique about you from a branding perspective, so we can infuse that brand stand and that point of view into all of your marketing.
Yeah, love it. All right, so how do you know if it's time to revamp your marketing or your brand? So let's say you've been in business for a while and, maybe 5-10 years. Should you revamp or update your branding every few years, or what is your take on that?
Yeah. Thanks for asking that. I think that there's a couple of things to keep in mind. So if you're seeing that you're launching, if you've been around for a while, you have programs that you've done, and if you had some success at the beginning, but then you're seeing the same programs or same launches or the same messaging is not quite working as well to convert, that would be a really good time to take a step back and look at yourself. Because I know what happens with entrepreneurial people, I'm one of them, is that we have lots of new ideas all the time, and we're evolving. We're evolutionary beings. Our businesses are evolving, and personally, we're evolving. I feel like I'm not the same person I was 7 years ago, right? Like what I'm doing and my messaging and all of that is different. It's constantly evolving. And I think, thank God I know about marketing, because I can do that. But if you've evolved and your brand hasn't evolved, the container, your why, the essence of what you're doing hasn't evolved, then it might be falling flat. You might be seeing a decrease in conversions or up sales or uptake of certain things. And you might want to just look there, like, is it your brand, is your messaging? Because I think sometimes people can go, oh, I just need a new campaign. Maybe I just need a different webinar or something like that. But sometimes it's a deeper thing. And I personally believe that your business has a soul and you have a soul, and we need to be listening to the evolution of those soul messages and bring that back into our brand messaging. So what comes up for you, Megan?
Yeah, so gosh, all kinds of stuff as you were talking about that. Well, for me, I really think it's being an entrepreneur is like just there's so many lessons that we learn, right? And we grow exponentially in the process, and we learn things about ourselves. We learn things about our clients and the needs of our clients and how we can best serve. And I think, it's okay to have an initial idea of how you want to serve, but it's only natural as we serve, we're going to learn more and more and be able to fine tune that and get more into alignment with what that looks like. And when you are fully in alignment, I mean, that is where your sweet spot is. That is where you're going to be the most fulfilled. That's where you're going to make the biggest impact. So I want you guys not to be afraid of maybe not having it perfect in the beginning, but being open to the fact that it is going to evolve. It is going to change. And you can be able to represent that in your branding and change. And I wouldn't say to like completely change your branding, from one thing to the next, in a short period of time, but to really make sure, like you said, it's representing you and listening to what you're learning from your business. I love what you're saying, that your business has a soul. Mm-hmm. because it is. That's real. And if we're really coming from a place of service and wanting to help, we're going to continue to learn how we can best make the biggest impact and best serve our clients. So.
Yeah, that's right. You just reminded me of a story that I was that I'll be teaching about this weekend, which is the story of Apple computers. And Steve Jobs worked at Apple, and then he left for a while. Before he left, he worked at Pixar, right, which is all about movies and storytelling. And before that, he launched the Lisa computer, and he had an 8-page ad in the Wall Street Journal, mostly text, about all the features of this computer and how this computer was so great. And 8 pages of text about the Lisa computer, and it flopped miserably. And then he went off and learned about storytelling and archetypal stories at Pixar, and came back to Apple and totally rejuvenated the company. I think I heard that he came in and there were like 900 different projects going on, and he canceled all of them but like 3, and said, we're focusing on these 3 things. And that's when the whole Think Different campaign came about, because he listened to, he did. And I think you were going to ask me this question too, right? In the Lisa computer ad, he was making the hero of the story him and his products. But when you shift this archetypal story, the hero of your story is, and always should be, your client. You're the guide, you're the Yoda or the Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars, and your client's Luke Skywalker going on this crazy journey to try to blow up the Death Star. Right? And so your role is to be there to provide guidance, sometimes some hard, lessons, but to make sure that they get success and that their inner journey and their outer journey is successful. And so the Think Different campaign, he realized that his customers were people that felt different and didn't feel seen and appreciated. They were creative and they felt weird, and they thought computers were challenging and difficult and too hard to understand. So he made it super simple, and he infused the brand in every situation. He made it much easier to use than IBM computers, right? He made Apple computers, the interface, beautiful. He simplified it, and he created this whole campaign where he showcased Einstein and Amelia Earhart and people that did things that people called crazy, but now we think they're like amazing. And so by making the hero of the story his customer, and just like that ad, the Think Different ad didn't talk about computers, didn't have a computer in it at all. And I think that ad ran for a few years, never talking about computers. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I just love this topic about storytelling, because I think you're right. A lot of us feel like we have to sell and make sure we let everybody know about the features and the benefits and everything, why they have to move forward and work with us or buy our products or programs. But you have to remember, like, how are you going to connect with them in the first place? And I think the best way to do that is by sharing your own personal story, right? Like, what inspired you to do what you're doing? You're talking about your why. That's always a great place to start. But I know it puts us in a position where we're having to be a little more vulnerable, right? And but it also forces us to be authentic. And that's what our ideal target client, I call it our star client, is going to be attracted to, because they're going to resonate with you and feel like you understand them, right? So yes, you want to talk about your story, but then you always want to bring it back around and how, this journey has helped you, and now you want to help them. So it's like you said, turning it back to making sure that your customer is the hero. So important, because again, I'm going to say this again, it's not about us. we can share our story to, really connect with our ideal client and have them resonate with us, but then always making it about them and how, your products or program or services are going to be able to help them get from where they are to where they want to be, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I love it. Yeah, so I'm trying to see all right, what can you tell us about message clarity?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest thing, and it goes back to that finding your uniqueness and focusing in on a client. Because if you don't have clarity, you've lost tons of money. You've lost people and you've lost money. And this actually also goes back to brain science. Like the way that our brains are wired is that our brains are always seeking clarity and avoiding confusion. And in today's world where, oh my gosh, like I'm getting notifications, emails, pop-up, Facebook, right? Like we have so much more coming at us than 50 years ago, right? Our brains constantly are sorting, not important, confusing, right? And so you want to be that like soft place for people to land. You want to have clarity in your messaging so people immediately go, oh yeah. We used to say we have 7 seconds for someone to see our website and make a decision. I think it's now 2 seconds.
2? Oh, I thought it was 3. Wow.
Somebody was telling me like the attention span of a goldfish is longer than the attention span of a human being now. Like if you have something in front of a goldfish bowl, like they'll actually pay attention for longer than we will.
Wow.
So yeah, so you need to, let's just call it 5 seconds. You need in 5 seconds someone to be able to skim and get it, be clear or not, right? Or move on, or you've lost them, right? So you need to find that essence of your brand, essence of you, and distill it down, which is one of the big things that I help people do, is distill down their messaging to something really simple, right? And so I think our World Changing Women website says a support ecosystem for world changing women entrepreneurs. So you get it, it's support, it's for world changing women entrepreneurs. It's not for every entrepreneur, it's not for lifestyle, it's not for MLM entrepreneurs. It's like, are you a world changing woman entrepreneur? It's for women. And then our tagline is actually stronger together, because what I've noticed is, and this was so interesting, I didn't know this, I had to do a lot of research and focus groups and asking people in my community. What's special about the membership program are the caliber of women in the program. And so it's all of us together being stronger together. It's not the Kim show, right? And many people sign up because they know me, they trust me, they resonate with me, but they stay for the members, for the community, for the people, for the strength that they feel in themselves and in their business by being part of that membership. So when you can find those little phrases, those words, those ways to express it where people get it, it's really super powerful.
You said a couple really awesome things. So the one that's coming up first for me is when you're talking about your taglines and things like that, and having clear, concise little snippets of what you're all about. I find that, like, in my mind, I think it's one thing, but like you said, you did some market research or just kind of got some feedback from the group. Those are the people you want to go to, right? Because again, it's not about us, and how we view it, because we're so close to it, often is very different than what our community or our ideal clients, how they're going to word it. So I love that. Like, don't be afraid to do market research or ask some questions to really fine tune that messaging. So, because again, you want them to be able to resonate with it. So what's in our mind might not be exactly what they're going to resonate with. So I love that concept of doing the market research.
Yeah, that's right. And if you don't yet have a lot of clients, or, I would say even 5, Asking 5 people what they think about things is enough. 20 is better. What I did in the beginning before I started the World Changing Women community is I created an online survey, and one of the best questions to ask people is, what's your number one challenge you're having in da 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 is whatever you do for people, right? So for me, what is the number one challenge you're having in growing a business to the level of success that you want? And so I posted this in just different masterminding groups and women's networking groups and things like that. They don't even have to be my client, but they could be potential clients. Yeah. And then what was so great is, I even had people that were my competitors that were sharing information with me and sharing my survey with their communities. And what I did is I said, if you share this so we can get the data, I'll share the findings with you. Right? Because it's like, why not? Because I do believe we're all unique. And I know I have my unique brand that's different from other people's. And so
it's not a competition. Stronger together no matter what, right? I love that. Okay, so circling back around to clarity of message, we talked about having a really super clear brand. But I also think it's super important to have clarity around your marketing message. So, for example, I know we can serve a lot of people in a lot of different ways, but having, being very specific on what your focus is on your marketing message, and then what is the next step you want them to take? Like, what is your call to action? So what can you share on that, like being very clear on your marketing direction and directing your client taking that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think what's most helpful and what I do in my standout branding workshop is I give people a worksheet, where they define this story, right? So who's the character of this story? That's your hero. That's your ideal client. Who has a problem? What's the problem that you're solving for them, right? Meets a guide. So that's you and your brand. So what does the guide give to the person, which is your benefits, the transformation that's possible, like what's possible in working with you that wouldn't be possible if they didn't ever do that? What's the trajectory their life would go on if they didn't work for you? So you need to define that. And then what the guide does in the archetypal story is calls the hero to action. That's your call to action. So in order to help that hero solve their problems, you got the solution for them, you need to give them a call to action. So that needs to be super clear. You need to tell them, go do this. Click this button, fill out this form, go to this website, right? Yep. And you can have 2 types of calls to action, one direct and transitional. Okay, so a direct one could be, buy this program, it's going to solve your problem. It's obvious, right? Like, here's something you can buy. It's direct, right? Or transitional would be, maybe they're not ready to buy, but they can sign up on your list. They can sign up to get something free. They can sign up to get a lead magnet. They can sign up to take a quiz or an assessment, right? Whatever you have that's free. And you need to have those 2 types of calls to action. The buy now call, direct, and the transitional call, which is getting them on your list so that you can nurture the relationship with them for a while until they're ready.
Very good. Awesome. So we're going to wrap this up. Oh my gosh, so many valuable tidbits. I hope you guys are loving this as much as I am. But Kim has a very special free gift for all of you today. Would you like to share that with the group?
Yes, I would. I would love to, because I know that this is something, branding and clarity in your marketing message is something so many people struggle with, and also just finding that uniqueness about you and your business that's different from everybody else. So I actually only have 5 spots available because I'm running a workshop next weekend. Things are getting kind of crazy, but I want you to, so if this is urgent for you and you're like, I really need to figure this out. I need to figure out what's unique about me and my business and how do I articulate it. and there's some work to be done here. I'm offering 5 what I call momentum sessions with me. So you can grab one of those, and if we don't get you in by the end of the month, there's typically a waiting list, and it might be next month, but I'll definitely, if you want to talk to me, I definitely want to talk to you. So the way that you get that is bit.ly, so that's bit.ly, bit.ly/momentum with Kim. And we'll put this in the chat after the video is done. But so go there now, bit.ly/momentum with Kim. There's a brief form to fill out just so I'm aware of what's going on in your business. I want to know, what are your URLs? I'm going to look at this stuff before we talk. It's not like a lot of other coaches where they're like, I really am committed in this momentum session that you get your next step with clarity around your messaging and your branding. Okay, so we're going to look at your website together, or whatever you have. If you don't have a website yet, that's okay. You're going to write in a little bit and explain to me so that when we talk, you're really one step further down the path. So I would love to talk with you. Yeah.
Wow, that is so valuable. Giving your time and personalizing like that is just, you guys don't want to miss out on this. This is a very rare opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, just so you know, an hour of my time, my mentorship, my consulting time is $500 an hour. So we're going to talk for, 30 to 45 minutes, and it's my gift to you. I'm doing this only for Megan's community because I love the Passionistas. I want to support you. So yeah, definitely grab one of those 5 if you feel like this is something that's really urgent.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that generous offer.
You're welcome.
So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're going to keep these around 30 to 45 minutes. And I think we're just under 45 minutes. But thank you so much, Kim, for coming on and sharing your expertise in the area of branding. I learned so much, and I hope everybody that listened were taking notes, and you can go back and implement these wonderful tips into your business right away. So thanks for taking the time and sharing with the group, Kim. And everybody, we're going to be reconvening here for the next expert interview series on February 28th. Same time, 11 o'clock Central. So, but there'll be all kinds of valuable information and training before then. But so we're going to be consistent with every other Monday for this expert interview series. So thanks for being our first guest, Kim. And thank you everybody for joining. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the group. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Megan. Bye, everybody.
Bye.